In 2021, I decided the wait was over. It was time to realize my dream of walking across America. Every day before I left was day zero. I started training in spring and logged hundreds of miles. I read several books on the subject, collected and tested the right gear. I started a blog, an Instagram, and YouTube account. I even explored the possibility of writing a book and publishing it about the journey, a journey I hadn't even started yet. Okay. By mid-November, I was as ready as I'd ever be. The last day zero would soon be upon me. The holiday season had come. I was in Des Moines visiting my parents for Thanksgiving. It was time to focus on wrapping up the final details before I left. The rest of this video is going to be broken up into 5 parts. The first of the next 5 parts is Color of Fire. In 2016, I started writing a YA fantasy novel for my son Caleb, who was 10 years old at the time. I hoped, at the very latest, to have it done by his 11th birthday. But as time went on, the book got more and more complex. I needed a break to finish my other writing projects. In short, I found myself preparing for a cross-country trip on foot with an unfinished manuscript. So, starting Thanksgiving and stretching out until Christmas morning, I worked day and night getting Color of Fire in shape. In the end, I presented my son with his 11th birthday present 4 years late and on Christmas. The book clocks in at over 1,600 pages and features over 100 characters with speaking parts. Anyway, it's done, and I'm proud of it. Part 2 is the penultimate gear shakedown. After Christmas, I got my son involved in shaking down my gear. What would go with me on my trip? What would stay behind in resupply boxes? Caleb was eager to help me in any way he could, so he volunteered to be in charge of mailing my resupplies. We inventoried extra food and duplicate gear. I explained that post offices will hold general delivery packages for up to 2 weeks. The plan will then be for me to look 5 or 10 days ahead on the map and request certain resupplies from Caleb. That plan sorted, it was finally time to decide whether or not I was going to be carrying a rucksack or pushing a cart. In the end, I simply weighed my fully loaded pack, complete with 3 days of water and food. My pack weighed 65 pounds. No way. Not even halfway across the country. Can't do it. No way. Caleb and I assembled the cart, and with a max carrying capacity of 88 pounds, a handbrake, waterproof cover, and spring shocks, this cart is going to be a lifesaver. Part 3. Road trip. I spent all my time during the last week in Kansas City with Caleb. All my training walks had morphed into casual coffee getters with my son. Kind of peek at the camera with my sunglasses on. It was a great week. We spent New Year's Eve eating junk food and binge watching Mandalorian Season 2. Saying goodbye to my son was hard, but I know that he will be one of my biggest cheerleaders in all this. I'm gonna miss you, buddy. I love you very much. What are you drinking?
Eggnog malt.
Mmm.
It's really cool.
The road trip has been a meaningful part of my entire life. Ever since I was 8 years old, I have loved being on the road. Starting in 1987 and again in 1992, my childhood was replete with long road trips from Iowa to California. In 1998, over the 4th of July, I took a group of international camp counselors on a road trip from central Iowa up to Door County, Wisconsin, down to Chicago, over to St. Louis and Kansas City, and back up to Iowa. That was pretty incredible. In 2000, I drove from Anchorage to Whitehorse up to Fairbanks and back to Anchorage with a girlfriend just because she was 19 years old and wanted to buy a bottle of wine legally. In 2002, the Air Force sent me from Elmendorf Air Force Base, Alaska to Tyndall Air Force Base, Florida, and along the way I visited my friend Mike, who you'll meet later in this video, in Las Vegas, and my family in Iowa and Minnesota. So yeah, I drove the whole way, and it took me a month, and that was a lot of fun. While I lived in Florida, I drove back up to Iowa over and over again, and I picked every route that I could find, and I just went every direction, every road that I could take every time I went a different way. And whether it took 16 or 22 hours, I didn't care. I just wanted to take different roads. In 2005, my girlfriend Liz and I got sick of our lives in Alaska, and we decided to drive to the Midwest. But along the way, through the power of the road trip, we realized that was sort of a mistake. So we turned around and we went back. In 2015 and again in 2017, I finally got back on the road for some long road trips, and this time I was with my son, and we drove from Kansas City, where we were now living, out to the West Coast, over to Seattle and down to the Redwoods, and back across the country. And that brings us to 2022. My mother and I drove from Kansas City to St. Louis, down to Memphis, through Birmingham, Tallahassee, and down to Miami, and on our way to Key West. So we got freezing rain overnight, and the doors are completely frozen shut. I can't get in there. Oh, there's Caleb. He just crawled in through the trunk. What? The lock is broken. Yeah, the lock is frozen. So I need you to get in there and look for my wallet and my tripod.
I found your tripod.
Thank you.
No problem.
January 1st came, and so did the first snow. My mother and I left Kansas City in a shroud of sleet after 6 hours of freezing rain. The going was slow at first, but soon we left the freezing temperatures behind and only dealt with mist and rain for the next 2 days. Man, it is so cold out here. We're, I'm not exactly sure where we were, at a gas station about, we're about 80 miles still west of St. Louis. We've been on the road for a few hours through all the snow and everything. The snow's let up, but it's a lot of freezing rain now. And like the headlights and the windshield and everything is just freezing over real bad. And at the beginning of this trip, I told myself I wasn't going to let myself be bothered by the weather and everything. That's just too many opportunities for disappointment and aggravation. So I just wasn't going to be bothered by it. So this is a good, good practice, I guess. Nice reminder that not everything goes swimmingly on a trip like this. Stuff all over my windshield again.
You can edit it out.
There is no walkway on this bridge. specifically, I was thinking that I just entered Florida and I'm not going to leave for a couple of months, and yet I'm not going to spend more than one night in the same place that whole time. Yeah. Day 3 of our road trip was all Florida and basically perfect. I'll find you yet. Part 4, the last day 0. So today is the last day 0, and this morning I did the ultimate shakedown of my gear. It's the last chance I gave myself to find anything that I'm missing or to get rid of anything I didn't need. I'll be sending some extra gear and clothing items home with my mother, but I also fixed and packed my cart one last time to make sure it all went together right. I had 2 tires that slipped their rims on the drive down to Florida, so I fixed those. I stabilized the loose handlebars with nothing less than duct tape because, of course I did. Duct tape and hose clamps. After that, Mom and I drove to Key Biscayne for lunch and a walk along the beach at the Cape. Mom and I thought it was lovely. And part 5, I guess I call this part the advice section. For the last couple months, I've been asking my friends and family to participate in kind of a 1-question interview. And I've just been asking, what advice do you have for me before I walk across America? I was just interested in hearing the varying advice that I would get from each individual from within my circle. I think you'll see that I got quite a wide variety of responses, and I've compiled them all right here. Okay, what advice do you have for me before I walk across America?
Keep your feet clean.
Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Oh wait, you already are.
Slow and steady wins the race.
Forgive and forget.
Keep your head in a swivel.
Make sure you call your mother.
Learn to smile through adversity. You're going to have some real hard times on this journey, and the right attitude's going to take you a long way.
Don't forget your toilet paper.
Remember the Alamo.
Learn a bunch of interesting stories, anecdotes, jokes to use as currency with people that you meet as you go across this nation.
Don't let the man get you down.
It's okay to call anytime and say I need a ride.
I guess 2 things. 1, you're going to be chafing, so make sure you got some chafe paste stuff.
Just don't feel bad about yourself if it doesn't work out how you dreamed it would be.
You're such a downer.
I know.
And 2, take time to enjoy it. Don't be so stuck to your schedule that you don't not enjoy what you're looking to fulfill.
Don't lose your map.
Invest your money in some really high quality shoes and socks. People discount socks. They are very important.
Just remember that we all love you, and if you need anything, just give us a call. We'll come running.
A journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step.
Like you told me before, Mr. Kirshner, good pair of shoes, clean socks, and don't take candy from strangers.
Keep your feet dry.
Enjoy the journey.
Remember who you are.
Get real comfy with how uncomfy you make yourself feel sometimes.
The best advice I could give you for your journey is to always bring a towel. Safe travels, my friend.
Be careful, know your limits, and if you need to take a break, take one safely.
Liam says, stop and smell the flowers.
Be nice to the people you meet. Being super nice even when they're not nice goes a long way in getting you a better experience.
Whatever you do, don't let negativity of people projecting their own self-doubts on you deter you from your focus.
The one suggestion I have for you, being a outdoorsy person myself, is never to pee into the wind. Have fun.
In all seriousness, my best advice would probably be to be nice to yourself on the hard days.
Your undertaking is quite a serious undertaking, and it requires a great deal of forward thought, forward preparation, and mental preparation for this, because it's not going to be easy. But it's the kind of a thing that a person tends to only do once in a lifetime. And I had one time when I was your age or younger, and I didn't do it, and I've regretted it every day since. So by the fact that you're doing this means that when you're old like me, you won't have that regret. You will have all those memories. And so the only advice I can give you is to make sure that you document all the important points.
Watch your six. Pee every chance you get. And enjoy the suck.
This is one of my oldest friends, Mike. He runs a YouTube channel called Salty Vet Adventures, which you should definitely check out if you're into that whole boondocking life. Trying to record a voiceover and someone's racing out in the trailer park here. For real though. Anyway, I was going to say something about Mike. I forgot what it was. I'm just going to keep this though. It's funnier.
One thing I quickly learned about old Mungo, better known as Eric Kirshner to most people probably. The one thing is he would get it in his mind that he wanted to do an adventure. Usually some sort of physical thing, walking, biking, hiking, mountain climbing. He always did it. He never gave up. He'd keep doing it. He'd keep at it until he got it done. I always admired that about him. This guy ended up being one of my best friends and still is to this day. On and off, he's talked about this crazy thing of walking across the US. He's always wanted to do it. Walk across America. And if anybody can do it, that I've ever met, if anybody can do it, old Mungo Eric Kirshner can do it. I am so excited and proud of you, dude. It's going to be a huge undertaking, and if anybody can do it, you're the man. One of your greatest gifts is storytelling, and I can't wait to read that story. I'm sure there's going to be hard days and good days, and just know you have a bunch of people behind you cheering you on when you have those rough days. There to support you. And boy, you're going to have a bunch of people behind you as well, cheering you on those good days. Good luck. Happy adventuring. Start writing that book. One page at a time. What a cheesy video this is, right? I don't care. Love you, man. I'll be behind you every step. Just not literally.
So that's it. I'm finally done making videos about something I haven't actually done yet. I've read the books, I've watched the documentaries, I've collected all the pertinent gear, I've walked the training miles, and I even managed to lose 23 pounds. I've done everything that I can do. Tomorrow is day one, and I guess we'll see if all my preparations were worth it. I'll be updating you from the road with videos periodically, but I don't know how long it's going to be between videos. It depends on how often I can get to Wi-Fi and spend the time, doing the edits and whatnot. In the meantime, you can keep up with me on my Instagram account, which is at American Walkscapes, and then you can also keep up with me at my blog, which is walkscapes.me. All right, that's it. It's getting late and I've got to go to bed. Mom and I are driving to Key West in 8 hours. Peace out, people.